The last one is a lot of doctors go, right, I just need to get a job because that's the only financially stable way to get into industry. You know, and I've got a mortgage to pay, I'm older than I was before, I can't, you know, and that's the only way. But the reality is, in industry, and we don't see this as doctors, well, we do see it now, you can lose your job. You can be made redundant. Startups, even the big funded ones, they fail. And then you've got to move on and find another job. And so, and again, like you're still limited to how much you earn, depending on what people tell you. And again, because we're culturally used to being told what we're going to earn and our salaries, then that's fine for us. And then we just get a paycheck every month. For a lot of people that works, but my philosophy is that everyone on this earth, let alone doctors, should learn how to work for themselves in case these things happen, right? Like, these things happen all the time and people do get stuck between jobs. So becoming financially stable isn't you get a regular paycheck every month. It's about being able to manage your money well and be able to mitigate losing an income on one side, especially if you've just got one form of income, which most people do, and you lose that, what are you going to do? Right, so I'm like a strong advocate of like multiple forms of income so that you're not having to rely on a job, especially if, like, say, I see, coming from my occupational health perspective, right, as a consultant, I see a lot of people and doctors who are trapped in their jobs. They hate their jobs, but they can't move because they haven't found another job and they need the money, or they've got disabilities, or they're stressed out, or whatever. And if people were able to move on and weren't tied to the money, then I think this world would be a much better place, to be honest. And, you know, there's so many doctors and people who are like, I know this could be done better. You know, I just need, you know, but I can't do it with this employer. I can't do it in the system. And therefore it just doesn't get done. But the reality is the brave ones will go and start a business around it. And those are the ones that really change the game and change the landscape in industry. And so part of what I do, actually a big thing about what I do, is really advocate for, this is entrepreneurialism, this is starting your business, but doing it in a way where you're actually going to make money from it. So I see so many doctors that go and like start their own businesses and they like promote themselves like massively on social media and they're not making enough money to pay the bills. I was that person for a very long time, by the way. I wasn't even paying myself, right? Because I was like, I can't pay myself. I had to get over that, because if your business does not make money, then it's not a business. And because a lot of us come from medicine and like money is not even a word in medicine, it is very difficult to get into that business mindset where money is like the lifeblood of your business. No matter how impact driven, it has to make money. And there are so many doctors that just aren't making money. And so they've taken on the business, which is like heavy burden, especially when you're like not sure how to do it, plus your full-time clinical and juggling the two, plus life. And again, like, you know, what we do is advocate for sustainability, focus, strategy. So you're not just working on a business and doing all the things that aren't going to help you make money and keep your mission and legacy and everything you're trying to do going, because a lot of doctors just end up making really expensive mistakes, buying stuff that's not actually going to make them money but looks good, or spending most of their time doing things that isn't going to make money. And so I'm happy talking about money because I've had to get happy talking about money. That's how my business has lasted for 11 years, right? But, you know, without that language and that comfortability in talking about it, like, it probably wouldn't. And so if you're really serious about creating something, growing something, and making sure it makes an impact, you have to be able to talk about money. And most doctors just do not and struggle with that element because we're not financially literate, we're not money literate, and it is another area of taboo.